Wonderful. Let's go ahead and welcome everybody. Thanks for coming, and let's go ahead and start with our roll call.
Thank you. Chair Diaz?
Here.
Vice Chair Sheridan?
Here.
Commissioner Bell?
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Domke?
Here.
Commissioner Gleason?
Here.
Commissioner Koritz?
Here.
Commissioner Perez?
Here.
Thank you. And Commissioner Olson? I believe we had Commissioner Olson. We didn't need her here, but I believe she was attending for a short time today. We do have a quorum. Thank you.
Thank you. Just to make the formal announcement, this is the Arts, Culture, and Historic Preservation Commission meeting. It's April 26, 2021. Our agenda, part 1, is general administration function. 1A is presentations by the public on matters not on the agenda within the jurisdiction of the commission, and the commission is prohibited by law from discussing issues not on the agenda brought to them at this time. Is there anything that falls under this category?
We haven't received any public comments.
Okay. The only public comment I was going to make, which is not on the agenda, obviously, was just for discussion and inquiry if there was anything that the commission normally does relating to Pride Week, which is at the end of June. Not normally.
Well, and I'm not sure if that falls under the purview of this commission.
All right, 1B, Commissioner Communications. Is there anything relating to that? Laura?
Thank you, Chair. Yes. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that the Sacramento Regional Fire Museum that we have here in West Sacramento is open again just this past weekend. So I just wanted to let everyone know that fire museum over at 3650 Industrial Boulevard, near Lake Washington and Harbor. That's open on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 2. So after being closed due to COVID, they're now ready for people to visit again.
Sorry. Any other announcements or communications from the commissioners? The only thing I'll add in terms of the question regarding Pride Week is probably a little out of left field. I was contacted this morning by the Sacramento Pride Organization Committee, and they're looking to do some artwork and some displays, public displays relating to Pride on the Sacramento side of the river. They're looking to potentially do a fundraiser to light the Tower Bridge in rainbow colors. So I wasn't sure if anybody from our commission or our city had been contacted by that, but happy to just work with them and figure out if there's anything we can do to be helpful in terms of celebrating Pride with them a little bit differently this year, since they can't congregate like they normally do to celebrate.
Yeah, feel free to give them our email, my email contact, and if there's any way we can promote and coordinate, we will make whatever effort we can.
Perfect. Okay, sounds good.
Thank you, Chair Diaz. Thank you.
Thank you. Great. Any other communications at this time? Wonderful. Let's move on to number 2 on the agenda, presentations. This is the presentation on the West Sacramento Community Center established in 2011.
Thank you. Good evening, commissioners. It is crazy how time flies, and the West Sacramento Community Center was established in 2011. And that means this year we are celebrating 10 wonderful years of so many things that happened for our community in that building. Of course, that looks a little different as of recent, and we're doing a lot of virtual type stuff, and things have been a little different. But we're slowly stepping back to more things in person and hybrid, doing a lot of virtual stuff that will continue. It's amazing how much this is catching on, and we can reach even more, community members. So with that, we weren't able to gather and have a big party, and that's what we did, like for our 1 year and our 5 year, right? We gathered the community, we had a huge party. And we couldn't do that. So we had to get creative, and we have put together a virtual celebration of established 2011, the West Sacramento Community Center. And in a moment, I am going to share my screen, and this is a debut. You are seeing the debut of this established 2011. And it showcases and highlights, certainly doesn't cover everything, but it really shows in the 10 years some of the amazing stuff that's happened and will continue, and that we continue to build on. And I'm going to mention, for those of you who happen to maybe be at your house, most of you, and if you're not home, you'll find it later, you have received what we call a sunshine drop. And so what that is when honestly, the pandemic first hit and we had to close the building. We had to get creative. And so we were doing things like sunshine calls, and we still do those. And we call our seniors, our regular participants, and we talk on the phone and we check in with them. And then sunshine drops. Also, we added what we call sunshine packets. And those were fun things we did with brain teasers and crosswords and gardening tips and sharing our favorite recipes. And so we had sunshine packets we would mail home as well. And then as the months progressed, and we all didn't know how long this was going to go on, we decided, well, wouldn't it be cool if when we're doing these calls sometimes, the sunshine calls, we tell them to go check their porch. And while we've, had them on the phone, we were secretly parked across the street, and we dropped something on their porch to let them know that we miss seeing them in person. And we call those sunshine packets. So you each have a sunshine packet that is related to the established 2011. And you are receiving what many of our seniors and our Spark participants that you will see in the videos, what they will be getting as sunshine drops in the next few months. And then as more things open up and more of the public are able to come back to our buildings, they will be receiving these established 2011 commemorative items as well. So that's what that's about. And with that, I am going to go ahead and try to share my screen. And premiering is established 2011, the West Sacramento Community Center.
Since opening in 2011, the Community Center has truly become a place to gather, celebrate, and connect with our families, neighbors, and friends. It is a place where we can come together to learn about and experience our unique West Sacramento.
I'm afraid I stopped. My share stopped. Did it stop?
It did, Connie.
It did.
But I couldn't see anything. Could anybody else see any video?
I couldn't.
No, I heard
I couldn't see it.
Oh my gosh. And I tested this before we started. So let me stop again. It was working before.
Do you want me to try to play it from City Hall, Connie?
I'm going to try one more time.
Do we all need to be muted? Does that interrupt it in any way, or?
Share screen.
Should have stopped it from playing.
Yeah, because we sorry guys, one moment.
Connie, if this is Kira, if we do have a continued issue, I can attempt to play it from the YouTube channel, which doesn't premiere till tomorrow, but is available on my end.
All right, let me give it one more try and then you may need to do that. We'll see. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm here. Share screen. It is giving me problems. Kira, do you want to try the link?
Of course, just a moment. I have that here. I'm going to go ahead and requisition that share screen for a moment. Thank you all.
Let me get off.
Okay. And feel free to chime in if no one hears anything.
Since opening in 2011, the Community Center has truly become a place to gather, celebrate, and connect with our families, neighbors, and friends. It is a place where we can come together to learn about and experience our unique West Sacramento culture, our rich past, our exciting present, and our bright future.
Celebraciones son una de las grandes alegrías del centro. Celebrations are one of the great joys of the center. Rental space is available for parties, conferences, classes, dancing, including Zumba, cultural celebrations, and fun activities for the whole family.
Gallery 1075 is the center's dedicated art space. Every year, a variety of art shows engage the community through the work of local and regional artists.
The center is home to one of the City of West Sacramento's preschool and childcare facilities. Learning Ladder supports a child's love of learning and provides a multicultural experience where all children and families feel welcome.
Art and cultural enrichment come to life at the center. Youth and adults experience the joys and benefits from a variety of leisure interest classes, including ballet, dance, painting, martial arts, and more.
West Sacramento has had a historical society for many years. We have exhibits here that promote the area's history. Every day that goes by, we lose a little more history and our job is to preserve and present it for everybody to learn and appreciate.
The Black Box Theater is the city's flexible and imaginative theater space. With seating up to 145, it is ideal for theatrical performances, music events, award shows, lectures, and workshops.
We are the heart of the senior community, offering activities, classes, and resources. The center is a gathering place where friendships are formed and where independence is fostered.
We believe every individual can live a joyful, active life, and we strive to provide programs that specialize in adaptive enrichment opportunities. Our Spark program fits the participants' interests and are designed to enhance socialization and confidence.
Youth and teen programs are supported by the Community Center. Teen dances are held here in a fun environment, and there's space to hang out and socialize.
We also host our annual Youth and Teen Art Show at the center.
We hope you've enjoyed this glimpse of the West Sacramento Community Center. It is designed to bring residents together and offer activities that strengthen our community. Here are some of the partnerships that have helped make that happen.
Thank you so much, Kira, for your help with getting that link to play correctly. I'm glad we got.
No problem.
So that is our campaign, and luckily we have lots of 2011 left to celebrate this. And it's hard to capture, but I think I'm really proud, and I know our team is very proud to try to capture the vibrancy of our community and our programs and the wonderful people that are a part of the West Sacramento Community Center. So when you get to open your sunshine drop, thank you for being part of that sunshine and helping support all that we do there at the community center. So, and I also want to say thank you to our commissioners who are newer to the area, took me up on the last meeting, and they came out and they toured the community center, and it was lovely to get to spend another hour with them and get to know them a little more. And I so appreciate supportive, involved commissioners who really support what we do and come out for our programs. And so that was a wonderful thing, and thank you very much for that. And then with us tonight, you may have saw Kira made the link work for the video, but going into our second thing, our second presentation tonight, I've talked a little bit about how we've had to get creative with virtual programming. And since we cannot gather, we've also had some challenges with how to exhibit the art shows that we do. So you will get to see a little bit of that tonight and meet our newest team member full-time. Kira's been with us a couple years as a part-time staff, and she's walked the walk and talked the talk and been an amazing staff person and just came on full-time. And she is the curator of Gallery 1075, and she's kind of our all things social media and design. And Kira is actually an artist herself. So she is always creating and doing amazing art and work. And she's done Chalk It Up. She's also enjoys comedy. And so she does theater and comedy and a lot of really interesting and great things. And so at this point, you got to see our 2011 celebration campaign. And if it's okay, I'll let Kira take over and introduce herself to the commission. And then she wants to share with you what's going on at Gallery 1075 currently.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that warm introduction, Connie. Hello, good evening, Arts Commission. My name is Kira Kumiski. You may recognize me from such West Sac features as established 2011, the West Sacramento Community Center, and an introduction by Connie Leek. I am so happy to become another level of team member at West Sacramento Parks and Recreation. I've been doing 3 years part-time before recently making the grade to full-time staff over at the community center. And of the hats I wear, as Connie mentioned, is curating Gallery 1075, graphics, marketing, video, special events. I help out wherever I can. And as Connie previously mentioned, one of the things we've been doing over this fascinating time is like a lot of pivoting to accommodate and still keep programs and interest and community alive over this interesting, if at times trying, past year. And in that regard, well, art, well, hey, you know, the community center over this time was closed to the public in Gallery 1075, a lovely space, which some of you have seen or may have visited in the past. Within the community center, how do you start sharing artwork with folks if they can't come in your doors? Well, you're gonna bring your doors to them. So we made a lot of video features over the last few months, and I'm getting a lot better at my editing skills. So I'm happy to report that. And to show that to you momentarily, I'm very proud to present our most recent art feature video, and that is in partnership with our Learning Ladder Preschool, which you may also recognize from such features as established 2011. Our Learning Ladder Preschool held a sustainable art show, and this year's title was Hug Trees, Clean Seas, Save the Bees. And we had the privilege to take what the teachers in those classrooms were creating separately as multiple projects and get to put it together and bring the entire curriculum, if you will, to another visual level in one space, showing off everything that the kids have been learning and how they're starting to process and create with their environment. So on that note, let's let the video do the rest of the talking. So I'm going to share my screen over here. I already got my YouTube link as a backup in case we need to. We're sharing sound here. And please feel free to let me know if there's any technical issues. Thank you so much. Please enjoy Hug Trees, Clean Seas, Save the Bees.
Hi, I'm Miss Monica, and I'm the green room teacher.
Hello, my name is Mr. Moises, and I'm here part of the distance learning experience.
Hi, my name is Miss Keegan, and I'm the lead teacher in the blue room.
We decided to use recycled cardboard because we were talking about ways to keep our earth clean. We made the mountains and we used sand to give it some texture. We made the ocean and we used green recycled paper to make it pop and make it look 3D. And we used white construction paper that was recycled from other art projects. The kids loved it and had a great time making all these projects with recycled material.
Our theme has been our garden. It was inspired by our beautiful nature and our surroundings. All the children were able to, we utilized a lot of materials from natural materials and recycled materials. We use milk cartons and cardboard. We even got tires, and we use a lot of plants. Also use seeds that were donated. Our beautiful garden with the vision of the children's outdoors and using our recycled materials. It was a great experience through the whole process.
I came up with the idea to center our classroom's project around bees from my own interest in them. I think it's really important for us to teach the next generation that it's our job to help take care of this world and all the living creatures in it. And bees are so important for many different reasons, one big one being pollination and the impact it has on our plant life. So one of our favorite reasons to love bees is that they make honey. The kids were able to build their own honeycombs using hexagons, and we also used a mixture of glue and paint to make the honey. It's so much fun to see the kids process what they're learning through the art that they make. We just wanted to say,
great work, Green Room.
Great work, Distance Learning class.
Great work, Blue Room.
I hope you enjoyed that video feature of our last art show at Gallery 1075. Thank you.
Thank you. Both presentations were extremely wonderful. Thank you so much. And I was one of the commissioners that took Connie up and toured the community center recently, and I really loved it. Obviously, it's a little different these days because of COVID and not as packed, but I could see all the things that have been happening there, and it was really, really impressive. Does anybody have any comments on either of the two presentations that we just saw? Commissioner Sheridan?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Chair Diaz, thank you. Yes, I also toured. Thank you, Connie. I appreciate that. It was wonderful to get in there and see what's been going on despite all these challenges, and could see everyone working hard. It looked really great in there, and the presentations were really nice. I think I want to share them, so I wonder when we'll be able to share them. And then I think the only question I have, and it may just be, these limits we have with Zoom and sharing media that are leading me to ask this question. What do we have in terms of closed captioning for the videos so that people can read, what folks are saying? All the videos were great. The last video, of course, was done with masks on. And so it just made me think of that. And other than that, those are my two questions. How do I share it? And will we be making it, closed caption?
Absolutely, that's an excellent point, Commissioner Sheridan. So from my understanding of it, and if I'm wrong, please correct me and I will investigate into that further. Facebook, one of our channels for posting our footage, is really handy in that I have immediate access to edit the captions that go on the videos. So everything that is on Facebook, like I've reviewed all the captions in there, because occasionally, sometimes based on the way we pronounce things, sometimes words get a little bit scrambled. But otherwise, I was under the impression that the other ones was like turning on your captions and it would be into there. So I haven't inputted transcripts for these videos through YouTube, but I was under the impression that they were all captionable from the voices on YouTube. But explicitly, I have done the caption work myself on our Facebook post.
And then I guess just when will we be able to share both your really cool videos?
Of course. I'm so sorry. That was the first thing you asked. The community center video will be out to the public tomorrow, and the Learning Ladder video is already out there, but I can go ahead and get those YouTube links emailed to you for convenience if that would help. Okay, cool. I will touch base and get those to you through Connie. Commissioner Sheridan.
Thank you so much for supporting and sharing as well. That is like wonderful. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Wonderful. Commissioner Gleason.
Yeah, my question is how you said both Kira and Connie, you do social media and marketing. How is marketing getting out to the public so they can see the wonderful things that we're doing? Because I don't see any of these, and I'm on a lot of the community Facebook pages and a lot of things. And as a curator and a gallerist myself, I know how hard it is to get the community involved and know and understand what you're doing in those spaces. So what ways are we doing that?
We have an entire list that we apply that basically has, our social media outlets that we're going to do. We determine if we're going to do constant contact. So email blast for lists of participants who've given us permissions to send them newsletters and constant contact updates. And we have a very large subscription of those types of people. Also the public information office for the city and the city webpage. We share stuff there. Kira, you're kind of, you know a lot of this by heart because you're like, is it here? Is it there? And you're right, Cheryl, it's always a challenge and we're always trying more and more things. And you're familiar with, because we're kind of a rental house for both the community rooms and the Black Box Theater. And so we do also, when things are more normal, we will pay for advertising, in some of the art promotion type things. We've not been doing a lot of that because in truth, this was a really hard, terrible time. And a lot of our rentals, we had to shut them down. We had to put them on a wait list. They've been on a very long wait list to reschedule at this point. It was March was surreal. And I know my director remembers this well. We were calling people saying, we are so sorry you can't have your memorial service at the community center. You're not going to be able to have your anniversary party. We need to reschedule your show, your theater show. So it was challenging. But yes, a lot of this, we are doing the virtual, the social media, the city website, the Parks and Rec website, a lot of this type of stuff. And we do love our shares. And we have wonderful partners who share as well in the community, like the Chamber. They're wonderful and do a lot of sharing with us as well. And then we do, when things get more normal, we'll actually pay for advertising. When there's more going on too, you'll see banners sometimes on Lake Washington Boulevard. That's kind of where we can right now at Lake Washington and Jefferson. And we'll also hang banners out, let them know what show is playing in the Black Box. But again, this has been an abnormal time. So, and if you ever have any suggestions for us, because Cheryl or Commissioner Gleason, you're in this area in this field. So if you have a wonderful resource, we would love to know about it and, maybe add it to our list of places. So thank you.
Thank you. I will say I'll add that I follow everything on Twitter and Facebook, and I get a lot of my alerts from you guys on there. So good job. I do see them coming through. So, Commissioner Domke?
Just curious, Connie, is there a reopening plan for the community center?
We're tippy-toeing into everything that we can. I think most of you can tell Learning Ladder Preschool has been running. So one of the things we were able to, after things shut down, get reopened was childcare. It was very important to have childcare for essential workers and families who needed to go, do their essential work. And so Learning Ladder Preschool has been operating, and with all of the cohort rules and the children, we had to find more space. We weren't able to put all of the children that we normally would in 2 classrooms upstairs. So in fact, it took over both floors of the community center, and we operated in the approved smaller cohorts, and that's still been going on and will continue to go on. But as things have opened up a little more and we've went through the tiers, we have gotten permissions, and here at the beginning of May, we're proud to say that we have some spaced out in our Black Box Theater leisure enrichment classes starting back up. So we will have very safely distanced tippy-toe ballet dancers. I think you saw them there in the video. And they will be working with an instructor in a very safe situation, still wearing masks, very distanced, like I said. So tippy-toe ballet is starting again here at the beginning of May. Archery, which we do outdoors, but it's a class we promote and we oversee from the community center. But we do that over at Sam Combs. So that is starting up again as well, but that's easier to distance outside. That's kind of nice.
Kind of required the distance.
Yeah, it's very required. I know it.
All with the arrows and everything.
I know it sounds crazy. It's a wonderful, very safe, very, very, very good program. But
I'm curious about the seniors. If vaccinated seniors will be able to.
Yeah, we're working toward that. Young Rembrandts is starting again, which is art classes, urban dance, archery. And then this summer because we have such a need for taking care of the children when school's out during the summer, we're going to be doing some extended day camp, again, very safely distanced. And we are crossing our fingers that as vaccinations are going forward and the school year is going to start and children are back in school, that we're able to get the permissions we need from the county, California Department of Public, CDPH, Public Health, and our own EOC within the city to safely bring our seniors back. And yeah, that's what we're looking forward to right after fall. And that's why we got really creative with the 2011 campaign, because we just figure like we're going to celebrate it all year and we're going to get them back in. And that's going to be just such a wonderful celebration. And, but I have to tell you, they're virtually on. They learn and they're playing bingo and they're having coffee and they're watching a movie and talking to each other. And we're doing all kinds of programs. They're making scrapbooking kind of stuff and making cards, and they're doing stuff virtually. It's very cool. And if some of you've kind of seen the painting classes have taken off and we've upped that game. That is now, we have a wonderful volunteer who does the painting, and she's with the Westside Art Guild, and she was doing it at home, but it was kind of hard to see. And so we brought her into the Black Box Theater. She was comfortable with that. And we've put multiple cameras on her. So there's multiple views so that you can see more as you're trying to follow along virtually and paint with her. But yes, we're really, with the vaccinations going forward, we cannot wait till the wonderful day when we will have them back in, and hopefully that is toward the end of the summer and shortly. So
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Connie, for the presentation. And Kira, so nice to meet you. And thank you for the presentation. I think if there are no other comments, I don't see any, we can move to the consent agenda, which is number 4 on the agenda, consideration of approval of the minutes for the February 22nd, 2021 regular meeting and the February 24, 2021 special board and commission orientation meeting.
Move to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Gleason seconds. Roll call on that, please. Oh, I'm sorry. There's a comment by Commissioner Bell. Oh, no. Okay, sorry. Any comments? If not, then we can call the roll.
Thank you. That was motioned by Commissioner Domke and seconded by Commissioner Gleason. Vice Chair Sheridan.
Sorry, aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner Domke?
Aye.
Commissioner Gleason?
Aye.
Commissioner Corwitz? Here, one more time, Commissioner Corwitz. I don't think I heard the audio. There we go. Thank you. And Commissioner Perez?
Aye.
And Chair Diaz?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. See here, moving along on the agenda. We are now in the regular agenda portion of our meeting. Item number 5, consideration of public art project, the West Sacramento Fire Station 41 bench.
Thank you, commissioners. This item is being brought back at your request. And we had a very productive first commission meeting 2 months ago at our first meeting. And there was a good discussion about the bench at Fire Station 41. And commission asked us as staff to go ahead and bring this item back to the next commission meeting. And so here we are tonight, and you each have your staff report. But essentially tonight, we're looking to solicit feedback from the commission to endorse a proposal to complete Fire Station 41's bench as a public art installation. And a little bit of background. Fire Station 41, located at 132 15th Street, is our city's oldest operating fire station. Now, we all know there's Station 1, Burgers and Brew Station 1, which is our wonderful, and it's older, but that is obviously not still functioning as a fire department, although Old Mary is there, our oldest truck, to my knowledge, that we have, and obviously a lot of wonderful items and pictures and things for the history. But as far as the oldest active current of our active fire stations, Fire Station 41 is the oldest that's still active. And thank you, Commissioner Domke. Last time we met, you shared a lot of history and talked about the significance of the history of the fire station and roots that it had as a first volunteer fire department. And that whole area, it goes back as far as 1938, Station 41. So that's amazing and significant. And there was a lot of discussion about how it was a gathering place in the community. And in 2006, when Station 41 went through the major renovation that was held, there. They got a lot of feedback that actually kind of changed the aesthetic. The architects kind of went in with some ideas, and a lot of the history was seen as very important to the building and the neighborhood and the community to really pay homage to the history of it. And so one of the things that was also done at the same time was this parking area that's directly adjacent to the fire station. They took in that information about a gathering spot and created this hay bale bench that has layers of rebar and cement, and it's a hardy piece. It is constructed to last many decades, and the intention was to eventually honor it and have it be a community art piece. And I know both Tracy and myself and a couple of the staff in the department, we went back and we read the minutes from all these meetings. And you have a very good memory, Commissioner Domke. And we were able to basically find all of that there, and it was supported. And I have to just say that quite honestly, it looks like maybe at the time there was not a lot of funds in the Public Art Fund. And so what was actually proposed was a really small amount of money, very small. They guesstimated $2,000 at the time. And I think they were thinking of a paint application of just probably applying paint to the bench. And the feedback from the commission at that time was that that wasn't what was envisioned to make it a significant public art piece. And so they basically asked staff to go back and look at it and come back with some other ideas to do it larger than that. And the truth is I reached out to one of the staff that worked then on this, and that was his memory as well. And he said, well, there wasn't a lot of money and we were supposed to finish. And honestly, he left the city within that year. And the director, who was heavily involved with the commission, left the city within that year. And so this project, unfortunately, it did kind of get dropped. And so it is wonderful that the commission has brought it forward again and to our attention. And I don't want to go on too long, but I did attach for you the public art strategy. And in the public art strategy, it completely explains that this committee is the committee that helps make recommendations for use of the public art fund and make those recommendations to council. So it would be completely in line for the commission to endorse us picking up this project again and using public art funds to complete the bench as it was intended. So now we have to be honest. I'm not a public art expert, and we don't have, kind of that tool bank on our staff right now. And what we have done in the past is we have worked on public art pieces with YOLO Arts, or we've also used consultants, public art consultants, because there's a lot to take into consideration. They're kind of outlined on here, but basically the condition of the structure needs to be assessed, and this needs to be done properly. So determination if there's any repair or preparation that's needed. Weight limitations. I'm told it's cement and rebar, but we actually need someone to look at the plans, and we've located those. We have those from the architect, and determine the integrity of the bench. How much weight, what can it sustain in the way of whatever is applied or done for the art. And use of the bench. Is it intended to function as a bench? Then the art needs to be applied in a way that is comfortable. It doesn't snag your clothes when you sit on it or, give you an owie. So those are some of the things that need to be looked at by an expert. Ongoing maintenance, we need to make sure that whatever way it's constructed, that it can be maintained and kept to be the art piece that it becomes for that community area. There's a community engagement component that we want to make sure happens. We obviously want to prioritize artists in our region, but we want to allow for some flexibility of how the art is implemented. So we want the process to allow artists to incorporate their experiences into completing the project. And then, we want to reach out within our geographical region and really get some talented artists to give us, whatever committee we put together, give us their visions of what this bench art piece might become. And then there is the public art budget. We need to establish an amount that we think we want to put towards this project. And we may want to consider doing stipends for the artists who submit. Some of the feedback we've kind of gotten from both our economic development, who's done a lot of public art pieces, and also in talking with YOLO Arts, is that sometimes it's good to give a small stipend to the artists to give us a little more to consider as we look at what they're proposing. And so basically that's kind of where we're at right now. This is completely in line with our city council strategic plan. It does contribute towards the Vision 2022 Principle E, creating vibrant neighborhoods by creating walkable and secure neighborhoods with adequate circulation and civic improvements. And it's completely in line with the area of this commission. So basically tonight we're just bringing it back for your discussion, and basically we're recommending that the commission endorse us to, as staff, work with YOLO Arts or a public arts consultant to manage the completion of the bench as an art piece. And that would include a public art solicitation process, a coordinated effort for the artist selection and the fabrication and installment of the art. That it be looked at to be funded by the Public Art Fund, which right now is doing much better than it was doing last time this got looked at in 2006. And there is $93,000 in the Public Art Fund. So there is a nice amount there. And in our initial conversations and looking into this, we think that this is approximately a $50,000 project, with the actual art project itself, consultant fees, possibly stipends for the artists. That's our guess at this point. So looking for any discussion or anything that you have, and staff recommends that possibly you give us a recommendation to proceed in working with a consultant and getting further details, and then to come back to commission, because this will be a process, and we'll come up with a committee. And the thought is that committee would probably, be made up of two commissioners, I think is generally what it's been in the past. maybe someone from the West Sacramento Historical Society. We can look around for maybe some other, artists in our community who would have an interest in serving on the committee. So with that, I turn it over for your discussions, and you can let me know if you have a recommendation. And of course, there's always alternatives where you may not choose to follow staff's recommendation. Maybe you're not comfortable with it at this time. However, our last discussion, I think there was a lot of energy and enthusiasm, and even I was pretty jazzed about it. So
thank you, Con.
I don't know if I've forgotten anything. I want to leave my director. She's good if I've forgotten any key important parts. See.
Thanks, Connie. I think there's just only one thing I'd add. Great job at providing an overview. It was a learning process for me. I wasn't familiar with this project, so I'm excited to get this going. It's time. It's been a long time coming. And I do think that we could greatly use some professional assistance to help make sure this happens this time around. One of the things, we met with YOLO Arts, with Alison Flory at YOLO Arts, and then also with Shelley Willis, who is an art consultant who's managed a lot of our more recent installations in the Washington and Bridge District areas. And they both talked about a process that really doesn't define the process until they start working with the committee. So as part of the process, they will develop an art plan with input from the committee. So I really like that approach, so that the stakeholders that we have serving on this committee can help shape the scope of the effort, can help determine, does this effort warrant the stipend payments or not? How far reaching is the solicitation? So none of that is decided yet. That would all be developed as part of the process. So this is just one of many discussions and updates that this commission would be hearing to move the process along. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have one question, just because I understand, first of all, wonderful overview. I had no idea so many pieces would go into this. So that was a very educational piece of this. But what would be the end timeline? So I understand the process is kind of would be put together with the commissioners and others being put on this committee, but what would be the end time? Like when would we see this being completed at the very, very end?
Well, we're not sure, but we're starting the 5th month of 2021. I think our goal would be to make this thing happen and celebrate it 2022. Early, middle, we'll hope. We don't know. I'm not an art expert. These are going to be part of our initial questions if it is endorsed that it's recommended we go ahead and work with a consultant. I would think 2022, we want to accomplish this.
Okay. I'm going to call on people as I saw them put their hands up. Commissioner Bell.
I am in full support of getting this project underway. Thank you very much for taking the time and energy. And I think it's a great plan, and consulting with the experts and consulting with locals and even looking for local artists, I think will really add some vibrancy and attraction. And I'm all for it. I'm not sure if you guys are ready for motions, but I just wanted to let you know. Thank you for taking this this much needed bench and bringing it to, it's been abandoned and it needs some love. And so I'm so glad it's going to get some attention finally. So thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Sheridan.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you very much, Connie. Great background, all of you. Really appreciate that. Help fill in some of the gaps. And yeah, I do remember the enthusiasm and the ideas and the brainstorming that happened last time. So I really appreciate this moving forward. I think what I was wanted to go back to is the idea that this might be a great time to do, maybe even just in part, a memorial, because what I had been thinking the first time around was, you know, how much our first responders have done for us this past year or so. And, you know, some of us in our community have lost folks. So I thought this might be, at least in part, an opportunity for people to memorialize someone they lost, or for the city to memorialize the folks that, you know, were putting themselves on the line here this whole time. And, you know, in that kind of vein, you can also think of it as a way for folks to make a donation to the project. Maybe if the back of the bench is carved with names, or maybe a memento is encapsulated. You know, I agree, Connie, I'm not sure how the arts part of it is going to work, but, you know, there's just so many things we could do there. So I just wanted to take that and just sort of put it out there, especially since there's a little parking lot. So if people wanted to come and sit and think about their loved one, or think about what's happened, or leave flowers, or just enjoy what the rest of the art project would look like when it's completed, then there is that opportunity there. We also have plenty of, you know, first responder gear, or something that we can incorporate into the art project, or design with, you know, durable materials, something that encapsulates these kind of healthcare workers, or something like that. So I think there's a lot of potential here, a lot of potential. And I'm sure when it was envisioned, a global pandemic was not really part of the process, but given its proximity to the fire department, given its age and historical importance, it will be there for a while. And I just wanted to see what you all think about that kind of direction, at least in part.
Thank you, Commissioner Sheridan. Commissioner Domke.
Thank you. Thank you so much to staff and to all your work on this. This is going to mean a great deal to some folks that I know remember as well. And so good work. It was not easy to dig out, I'm sure, 2006 written minutes. Thank you. As it relates to timeline, just kind of a reminder that we make city council, this will have to go to council for a council to approve the funds, that we can take it to a point, and we definitely make recommendations about the public art fund, but both the public art policy and that fund are governed by the electeds as they should be. So sometimes that can take a little bit. And then kind of offline, Connie, I'll reach out to you with a couple of names of folks that were really engaged then, and that I'm sure we'd be delighted to be involved now. And so maybe it's a couple commissioners and a community member, you know, whose family members built that structure. And yeah, but good work. Thank you all so much. Oh, I had one more question. So the engineering of the, is there any of the costs that could be deferred, maybe that relate to engineering, or looking at the structure, the existing, didn't know it was a hay bale, but the existing hay bale structure, if like, is that, I know that the city doesn't have budget for it, but taking half of our existing art fund is a little painful. And wondering if maybe a local structural engineer was willing to donate their evaluation. If that's a thing that the city can accept, I don't really know.
That's a great comment. It's certainly an option to have us look at that, and the $50,000 range didn't really include any significant structural work. That was what the office that we met with suggested as a starting point based on the scale of the project and the community engagement component. So as we move forward, obviously we'll be able to refine those numbers as we get more information. But I will also say that even though I know it's right now looks like it's half of that art fund, in my update later, I'll be talking about some other projects that will contribute to the fund or create additional art as standalone projects too. So it's exciting that we have a lot of projects coming up that will be contributing to the fund. So it won't be impacted for very long, hopefully.
And you know, there also might be infrastructure grant funding available through the West Sacramento Foundation with a special source of revenue for this kind of community infrastructure related infrastructure that isn't a road, infrastructure that's like contributes back to the community. So maybe that's a resource too for some of that cost.
Thank you so much. Commissioner Perez.
Hello. So I have a couple of questions. Pardon me first. I'm not really well versed in art, and maybe some of my questions have already been answered. But I heard that we have the art side has $90,000 in as our budget. Did I hear that correctly? Can you clarify that?
The balance of the public art fund. So we have the public art fund. Okay. The balance of the fund is $93,000. We do not have an amount for this project yet. Basically, we have a ballpark we've provided of $50,000, considering consultant fees, potentially art, stipends. But we don't know, and I'm not an expert either. So we would know more after if the commission tonight endorses the recommendation to have us move forward working with YOLO Arts or a consultant to work on this process. Council would ultimately approve this, as Commissioner Domke pointed out. They are the ones with the authority to approve what will ultimately, if this is funded through the public art fund, how much that would be. So. Okay.
So would it be in our purview to ask a couple of things? So like the first one is it in our purview to say that that we strongly recommend that there is a competitive offer to be more than one consultant and not just go to only one consultant? Like, can we say we recommend that we go to two or three in the name of competitiveness, if that makes sense? Just questions because I don't, I'm new to this area. I'm new to this. And number two, is there anything that's similar to what this art is around the Sacramento region to get that ballpark figure? Like, is it something that's available to us to say, oh, okay, that's cool. Maybe Folsom did it, Sacramento did it, and that's understandable. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think within the region, it's been pointed out to us that in Davis, there are some at the train station, correct? Okay. There are some that are there, and there are some in the region. It's the kind of thing that an expert they're going to be able to help us find other comparables, basically, to get an idea that it's in the ballpark that it should be.
Okay. And going back to my first one, is it feasible to ask that we at least seek more than one consultant so that it's competitive in that nature? Does that make sense? Or is that not in our purview?
We're somewhat started on that path in that we've started a discussion with YOLO Arts, and YOLO Arts is generally within our county, endorsed by the County Board of Supervisors to help with these types of projects within the county. So they kind of have a foot in the door in the area. So we've started discussions with them to say, hey, if we get approval from our commission and we go down this path and it gets approved, Are you willing to work with us on, potentially being the consultant of this project? And so far, they've been very collaborative, and they've given us a lot of information and started that. And then also our economic development department, they've done more of the public art the last several years. They've been in charge of those processes. So they've got some expertise as far as who to work with, and they have a couple of resources as far as a public art consultant, and Tracy's already reached out and started conversations that way as well. So I think what you're asking for, we've kind of started that because certainly we want to find the most effective, cost efficient expertise, bang for our buck, feel like we're in good hands. So,
well, that process has already started before this was brought to the commission.
As we've done research, that's kind of been our thought as well. And so where we've kind of searched out more than one way to proceed with this. If tonight we receive a recommendation and the commission asks us to continue on this path for this project.
Okay. And I guess just my last one, if it gets approval from us, that means will we get like a recap in 2 months of harder figures? Like, hey, it's no longer a ballpark figure. It's actually a specific figure. It's going to cost closer to $20 million or $30 million. Is that something that we can expect in a couple of months?
Certainly, yes. More information will come together and firm up. If we receive the recommendation to continue researching the project and getting the information, will be each commission meeting,
right,
giving more of the information as it comes together, as the process comes together.
Yeah, I think in the spirit of my concern is I just want to make sure that, it's competitive, and one person just say, hey, I'm the only person here. I can actually drive, my cost up to 50 grand because I'm not going up against anybody. You know what I mean? That's my spirit of asking. I don't know anything about art. So that's why that's where my question comes from, if that makes sense.
Yes. And we hear you on that, because Tracy and I also feel that way. And that's why we started reaching out to get some information, because we certainly need that expertise. And yeah.
Are we the first art commission to receive this type of proposal, or did the commission that precedes us ever see this at all?
Oh, for certainly. They've worked on many public art pieces. So
no, but this one specifically.
This commission for the city of West Sacramento?
This project specifically.
This project was brought to them in 2006.
Oh, okay. And
it basically just fizzled out. There wasn't much money in the fund at the time, and also there was a turnover of staff. And I
gotcha.
It got left, but yes, it did come, and there are minutes, and there is a lot of documents that it came to the commission in 2006.
Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Perez. And my screen shifted. So Commissioner Koritz.
Thank you. First of all, thank you to staff for all your hard work. I'm sure it was hard to dig up all those old minutes and find all that. And thank you, Denise, for bringing this forward. I hadn't even thought about it until you brought it forward, Denise. And I'm like, oh my God, how many times have we driven by there and looked at that and thought, okay, I remember when they built this, it was like, oh, this is really cool, but what's going to happen with it? And then it just kind of went by the wayside. So I'm really happy that we're bringing it forward, and I support it 100%. Just putting on my education hat, I would say I would like to see us reach out to the high school and maybe get some of our students involved in this project and maybe be on the committee. The ones that are in the graphic art and design or even engineering, but a way to bring our younger community involved, I think would be great. So that was just my 2 cents, is if we could, get some of our our high school kids, that would be great. I don't know, we probably wouldn't even be in time for like an intern or something like that to be involved, because I know the city does bring on a lot of our interns. So, but that was it for me. I love it. Thank you, Connie. Thank you, Denise. Thank you, Tracy, for all your work. And I look forward to seeing this project done. So with that, I would make a motion that we accept staff's recommendation and we move this forward.
Thank you so much. I see that Commissioner Gleason is now on her iPhone, but I think she had her hand raised before she switched over. So I just want to give her an opportunity to speak in case she wanted to say something.
I did. Sorry, I lost power on my other device abruptly. So one of the things that I think would be very important in the conversation, whether or not to have stipend for contributing artists, I think that that's really important if you want a wide, diverse group, and you're going to get better results and better product if you offer a stipend. So artists do a lot of work designing, thinking up something that is specific for this project. So if there's a huge turnout of people and I've worked really hard, I've wasted a lot of my hours. So why bother going for it is a general term. So I would suggest both as an artist and a commissioner that we do offer a stipend for the preliminary drawings or mock-ups of what the bench would look like, whether that's ceramic, whether it's a mosaic, whether it's, whatever materials or mediums the artists are going to use. And I definitely think that we need to absolutely give a 3-month, put it out with a prospectus for 3 months for the art call to give people a legitimate amount of time to really go out, look at the area, look at the atmosphere, sit with the bench and imagine what that could be. Because the process doesn't just happen overnight.
Sorry, I had to jump up because I have a new puppy and he was eating my blanket. So thank you so much. I know, are there any other comments before we take a vote? Commissioner Sheridan, did you have something else?
Yes, thank you. Just real quick, I just, with Commissioner Gleason and just some other thoughts from Commissioner Korowitz, just wanted to bring that together. Well, just everyone, I don't want to not call anyone out. Just everyone's thoughts also made me think of the idea that this could be a community project. It's a small item, but if we're worried about cost or stipend versus how much of a contribution that, it's true, artists' time and materials and all of that is important. And considering that we could include members of the community in this project, like art students in the school system, I think the time factor is important. And it also allows this to be the type of project that could be sort of sourced out in terms of like how many different, you don't want too many chefs in the kitchen, but if it helps reduce any one burden of cost, or if it helps move this into the project that we think it all could be by being more inclusive and smart about that, we could really see a chance to make this project affordable as well as community inclusive and incorporate that into the overall design so that we're including, different aspects of the relevance of the position of the project across from Station 41, and then the chance to bring the community together after a long time apart. So I think it's a really great opportunity. in terms of fiscally, but also just where we can go with the project itself. I just want to make that comment. Thank you.
Thank you. And Commissioner Domke.
I'd like to second the motion that's on the floor, Commissioner Corwitz's motion, that we move staff recommendation forward.
Wonderful. We have a motion and a second. We can go ahead and call a roll.
Vice Chair Sheridan.
Aye, yes.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner Domke.
Aye.
Commissioner Gleason.
Aye.
Commissioner Corwitz.
Aye.
Commissioner Perez.
Aye.
And Chair Diaz.
Aye.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Great discussion. Thank you so much. We are moving to part 2 of the agenda. It's the last part of our agenda today. Item number 6A is Director's Report.
Good evening, Chair Diaz, members of the Commission. Thank you for all that great feedback. Just a few items to report on this evening. The first, as I mentioned previously, we do have an upcoming park master plan effort for the Heritage Oaks Park site. I wanted to share with you that this summer we'll be launching the master plan effort. The park site already includes improvements that have been made by Clutterwald, including a treetop adventure course, a public play area and parking lot, and a concession restroom building that should be open very, very soon. But now we need to plan for the balance of the park improvements. We recently completed an RFP process for landscape design and planning services, and we hope to have a contract underway very shortly. The process will begin with soliciting input from the community on the design features and the amenities to be considered in the park. And this project will have a public art component. So that means it can either, the project itself can pay into the art fund, or as part of our parks master plan, there was a real push for art in parks. And I think this is a great park site that lends itself to some really interesting art features. So the other option is you establish that art project budget and you use it on site as part of the park improvements. So I look forward to getting a lot of feedback from this commission on that project as it moves forward in the process. I also wanted to provide an update on our Etineshaliki dock. We completed the dock project in late March, but we have kind of had a soft opening as we work to update our municipal code as it relates to mooring fees and enforcement of use of the dock. On April 22nd, the City Council held its first reading of the ordinance to update the municipal code to allow us to regulate use of the dock. And next week on the 5th, the council will have the second reading of the ordinance and also look at overnight docking fees. The dock video was, I think, shared in a recent newsletter that went out. There was a link to it, but if you haven't had a chance to take a look at it, it's on the city's website as well, and it features the dock and the public art installation, and it's just a fabulous new addition. We really look forward to being able to let the community use it. And then lastly, I wanted to report that a few weeks ago, the City Council had their strategic planning retreat. It was a 2-day retreat, and staff and meeting facilitators are currently working to incorporate the feedback into more formalized documents, which should be available to share in the coming months. And that's all I have for this evening.
Thank you so much. Are there any comments or questions from the commissioners? Wonderful. Thank you so much. I appreciate that update. 6B on the agenda is future item requests within the scope of the commission. I like to add in parentheses there. Are there any comments or anything that the commissioners would like to add for future requests?
Is this about anything, or is this about anything specific?
It's regarding any future requests that's within the scope of the commission.
Okay. I think I had one. You know, Marva, you tell me if it's in our scope or not. I had sent you a video about we were picking up trash underneath the Tower Bridge a couple weeks ago. And there is where the pillars are. I guess Bauman, he's the gentleman that picks up trash. The city told him that they have to paint for him if he has volunteers to paint over the graffiti. It was just an idea. If Marva, I had sent you the idea of possibly getting maybe high schoolers to paint over it. The only con to that, and Marva, I think you made the good point, is that it might get graffitied over. So I just want to throw that out there. There's just pillars right underneath the bridge. There's a walkway. And I know the city has offered Bauman paint to paint over it. And I said, let me just run it across the commission. People may say, no, it's going to get spray painted over. Don't worry about it. But I just thought I'd throw that out there for you guys.
Sure. Well, that is something that I'm happy to look into and see what our what kind of parameters we need to have associated with that.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to follow up on that.
And like I said, part of it is it's standing length where people can spray paint over it. So that's the only con, but just to put that out there,
Thank you so much, Commissioner Perez. Commissioner Bell, did you have something as well?
Yes, thank you, Chair Diaz. I have often thought about our signscape into our city at the end of Jefferson, and how I would really love for it to be a marquee that would advertise so many of the things that are happening, because it is such it's a great advertisement. And I know we put banners there, but I think if we could maybe work it into the budget that we have an LED screen that we could easily update media and information to share, that this would be a great investment of information that needs to be shared and could also be artful and also sort of celebrate our community. I would love to see, I think it's in Modesto, they have these beautiful arches. I think that's really lovely. I would love to see that over Park. But I think that it is something that needs some updating and some beautification, and it's an opportunity that I think that we as commissioners could really make an impact and help distribute information about our Black Box Theater, information about public art, and how to get people more involved in art. I think it would meet all of our strategic stuff. So something I would like to see us venture into at some point.
Thank you. I got a little bit of feedback on that. I think it's a great idea. Also, I actually have been working on the monument sign, the city monument sign at Jefferson near Park at the that kind of interesting intersection where you get off at Jefferson for 3.5 years now. So just a little background. I think it's a great idea. We've had interest from organizations like Rotary in looking at updating the monument sign, and it's property owned by Caltrans. So we actually have to create a new encroachment permit for any new work on the monument sign. And Caltrans has a policy we're not allowed to advertise. So we used to post banners on the site above that sign for years. And Caltrans notified us that we weren't allowed to advertise. So what we're trying to do is figure out how we can convince Caltrans that it's public service information. And we have an innovation team here at the city. I think having some sort of a digital type of sign would be really interesting to consider, because you can update the information so quickly and cost effectively. Any last minute types of information is really easy to incorporate into something like that. But we need to follow our own sign ordinance guidelines as we're looking at that. And it's definitely something that's on our radar. So we've had a couple of different staff looking at how we can start to begin to work on that. And so I think it's a great idea, and it might not be one that takes a little bit of time, but it's in the works. So thank you.
I really like that idea as well, for my 2 cents on that one. Commissioner Domke.
And just to bring it back around to the community center, in the design of that building, I don't know if Connie remembers, and maybe even Tracy, but in the original architect's concept of the community center, if you're facing it from West Cap, there is a big blank wall. And it was suggested that in fact that location would bring the community together, that you could either project up onto it, you know, activities and events and things that are happening, or that because it's already a building with electricity in it, you could put that kind of a display up there. It's not at an entrance or an exit, but it is in a really important part of our community as we help the community establish, you know, where the heart is, where the center of the community is.
Thank you so much. Commissioner Gleason?
Yes, so as you exit Highway 50 and don't take the Jefferson, but go around, take the loop that puts you onto 5th and Bridge Street, like you're looking at the, towards the barn. Sutter Field is now to your left. That stucco plant is right there. There is probably a 400 to 500 feet CMU wall that would be the most amazing mural site for capturing all the different types of things that are West Sacramento, that we have a minor league baseball team, that we have the river, that we have, you know, the deep water channel. They're just so, it's like a blank palette or a blank painting just waiting to happen. And I don't think we have really any murals yet in West Sac.
Commissioner Donkey?
We had one before some of the infrastructure work was done for the Bridge District. Remember, there was an underpass. You went on the east side of the ballpark. There was an underpass you would walk under.
Yes.
There was a mural on that wall that was done by, I think it was a group of kids from the high school. But there was a mural there, but in fact, no, we don't really have any. We've talked about murals. We've talked about murals a lot. You know, the side of the teen center, that stucco building that you.
Yeah, well, I'm just thinking that it's almost like our own billboard right there waiting to be painted. And quite possibly, if we featured the Sutter Field, that we might get them to help donate to pay for part of that funding.
Sutter Health Park?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
I think it's a great location. It has been on our radar for a number of years. We have economic development and housing staff that's actually been working with the property owner to enable us to be able to do something there, even potentially participate in wide open walls type of event. All I can say is it's complicated, and that's why we haven't had anything happen there yet. But that is also another item that has been on our radar.
I thought it was a big step forward when they took down the no trespassing sign. Welcome to West Sac, no trespassing. Yeah, so progress happening.
I can't remember. I can't remember the ownership complexities, but the discussions have been happening for some time now. So we're working on that too.
Great suggestions tonight, you guys. Anything else before we adjourn or take a motion to adjourn?
I just have one, Chair Marva. I'd just like to see more pictures of Butters. That's it.
For anyone who doesn't know, Butter is my new puppy. So I just adopted him. He's 3 months old, and I got him when he was about 5.5 weeks. So he's a little bit of a nut, but he's getting there. With that, would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Perez. Do we need a roll call or just any objections?
I'll call the roll. Thank you.
Thank you.
Vice Chair Sheridan?
Yes, aye.
Commissioner Belt?
Aye.
Commissioner Domke?
Aye.
Commissioner Gleason,
Aye.
Commissioner Corwitz,
Aye.
Commissioner Perez,
Aye.
and Chair Diaz.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate it. Great meeting. Have a good evening.
Thank you.